you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida.tv. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
And now a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the famous rafters of the Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup. Oh, what a legendary call by the legendary Bob Cole back in 1993. And the way the Montreal Canadiens have played over the past couple of nights in consecutive 3-2 losses versus the Flyers in Philadelphia and last night versus the Sharks in Montreal. It's going to take a while before the Montreal Canadiens win their next Stanley Cup, that's for sure. It is Friday, January 12th. I'm Marinaro, as you can see by this white wall behind me that probably looks like it's cream color because the lighting is a little bit off and the camera's a little bit off and the Wi-Fi is a little bit blurry and all that stuff. I am still in Portugal, but I will be back in Montreal on the weekend. And on Monday night, when you're going to see me again on the Sick Podcast, I can guarantee you that I will be at the home of the Sick Podcast in Montreal, precisely in beautiful, beautiful Ville La Salle, mountainside, though, however, not beachside. It is the Sick Podcast, and welcome. The Sick Podcast brought to you in part right now by 4 partners, 4 sponsors, 4 people that we absolutely love a lot. Energy Transportation Group, Playground, La Bita TB, and Accent Insurance Solutions. So let's start off where we have to. Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America. They are driven to be different. And once again, brought to you in part by La Bita TB, brewed in Quebec, winner of a dozen international awards. La Bita TB offers quality microbrewery beers made with premium ingredients for everyone's taste. La Bita TB, embrace your true nature. WPT Global returns to Playground for the Winter Classic. Over $1 million in guaranteed prize pools, including a $500,000 guaranteed main event. Playground's WPT Global Winter Class Poker Series from January 22nd to February 4th. Visit playground.ca for details. And once again, Accent Insurance Solutions. Write down this number. Accent Insurance doesn't sell insurance. They shop insurance for you to find the right product, right on the money. Whatever your insurance needs, home, automobile, or business, call the Accent team today at 514-363-3636. 363 is actually like a LaSalle number, to tell you the truth. But anyway, it's their business number, 514-363-3636, like my buddy Sergio Momesso. So I hope everyone's doing well. All right, okay. When things are going bad, the first person I think of is Serpente, because he just likes to add fuel to the fire and tell you just how bad he thinks everyone is. More bad than even you think they are, and he just keeps on throwing fuel to the fire. Without further ado, they call him the snake. I call him Serpente. Simon Boisvert, guarda tu.
Hi, Tony.
What are you wearing? A retro jersey or what? What's the story?
Retro, reverse
California.
retro.
It's a California Golden Seals. What's the story here?
Yeah. That the Sharks used those colors, and last year for their reverse retro, and I wish they were wearing it a little bit more, but I still love their present uniform also. Yeah.
Remind us all, Quentin Musty got drafted by which team exactly?
The San Jose Sharks. That's
so the second they drafted him, where was it? 26th, 27th? Where was it again?
Yeah, 26, I think, yeah.
Okay, so the second they drafted him, you went out and you got the retro jersey, and guaranteed in the back, you have the name Quentin Musty.
No
name.
I've always loved Sharks merchandise.
Oh, really, eh?
Yeah.
You know which
Ever
one was
since
one of my favorites?
1991.
I like the powder blue jerseys. I like the one the Atlanta Thrashers had. And I love the one the Pittsburgh Penguins had.
Oh, yeah, back in the 70s.
Yeah.
With Pierre Larouche, Jean Pronovo, and all these guys. Yeah.
Pierre Larouche, former 50-goal scorer. Hey, I've been asked often already today. A couple of buddies reached out to me, text messages. I had a radio hit on BPM Sport and a TV hit on TVA Sport. And I've been asked, what do you think of the Canadians losing to the San Jose Sharks, a team that is the worst team in the National Hockey League, had lost 12 straight. They look like an American Hockey League team when they played the Toronto Maple Leafs a couple of nights ago, and the Montreal Canadiens lose by a score of 3-2. How do you feel about it? And I said, it doesn't change anything for me. It's the National Hockey League. Any team can beat any team. And I know that a lot of people that love to give predictions for, and odds makers and once again, people giving predictions and this and that for the different sports books, they'll tell you that this team is going to win. This team is going to win. Hockey is the hardest sport to predict. 82 games, any team can beat any team. The Montreal Canadiens went into Dallas. Nobody gave them a chance. They won the game by a score of 4-3. You come back, all of a sudden, you think they're on a high. They're competitive with the Buffalo Sabres for 2 periods. In the third period, Buffalo obliterates them. The floodgates open up. They end up giving up 6 pairs, and they lose the game. A couple of nights after that, you say the way they played the third period against Buffalo, they're going to get destroyed by the New York Rangers, one of the best teams in the league, and they end up beating the New York Rangers. And then they go to Philadelphia, and they end up, getting outshot 3 times more, 5 posts here or there. They end up losing a game in a shootout. With a little bit of luck, you could actually end up winning a game in a shootout. And then the next night you say, okay, you know what? They laid an egg in Philadelphia. They're going to bounce back. They're going to beat San Jose. And they lay another egg, and they lose again. For me, it doesn't. The Canadians are a rebuilding team, a very average team, at nights below average. These are growing pains. They're going to struggle with consistency. Some nights they're going to end up winning games you didn't think they were going to win. Some nights they end up losing games you probably thought they would have won. It is what it is. How do you feel about it?
Well, you just took the words out of my mouth.
I
totally agree with your analysis.
Now we have a problem. The fact that now that you agree with my analysis almost sends the message that I see hockey and I think hockey the way you do. And I don't want that because you are.
Why not?
Because you're usurpente. What do you want me to tell? Hey, by the way, your thoughts on Logan Mailloux going to the All-Star game?
Look, who cares about the American Hockey League All-Star game?
Who cares? That's right.
They could have sent Joshua Roy. I guess they wanted the defenseman. I mean,
yeah.
Who cares about this game, really?
Yeah, but if he wouldn't have been sent and he wouldn't have got named to the All-Star, then you would have said he didn't get named, not because he got named.
No. I wouldn't even bothered whether he was named or not, really.
So
I watched the body of work, Tony.
So for you, a player in his rookie season in the American Hockey League, he gets named to the All-Star team. For you, it doesn't mean that no caldo, no freddo, no hot and no cold. It makes no difference to your life.
You need 1 player per team. They also have like positions. You need a certain number of defensemen, certain number of wingers. It's like same in baseball. It's
important to change positions. Very important. Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
I don't have any comments about this.
About what?
Well, Mailloux going to the All-Star game.
Yep, no, because no te conviene. It's not worth it for you, right? Because it goes against everything you said.
No,
even if he's going to be a career AHLer, and if he makes it to the National Hockey League,
even if he was voted,
he's going to be no better than a number 6, 10 minutes a game. Don't get me upset now, Snake. I can go back and show the tape of what you said.
Number 6, 10 minutes a game. What can I say?
But do you understand that there's 23 players on his team, and the guy who got named is him?
Okay, Tony. I mean. Who else would you have named for the Laval Rocket? They had plenty of forwards, so that's why they didn't take Roy. Brendan Gignac is probably their best player, but he's a little bit too old, I guess. Who knows what the selection process is? Maybe they want to showcase younger players. Look, I don't really know, and I don't really care about the American Hockey League game, All-Star game. Whether it's prospects that I like, from that team or that team. I don't look at the rosters. I don't watch the game. I don't give a crap.
You don't watch the All-Star game, that is?
No, I don't want. I don't watch All-Star games.
Yeah, no, I don't like watching All-Star games either.
I like watching players within, their what I call natural habitat. League games, playoffs. This is what I care about. Tournaments, All-Star games. No.
Seems like a pretty popular player when he found out that he's going to the All-Star game. We saw the video, of course, and his teammates. Seems like a pretty likable player on the team.
Okay, well, good for him.
Good for him.
I have nothing against the guy. I'm just telling you he's
I know you don't.
He's number 6 defenseman. I analyze player. You want to take Columbus's prospect roster? I can give you similar analysis about other prospects. But, you always focus on the fact that, I don't like this prospect from the Habs or that prospect from the Habs. And then you're like, oh, he's a Habs prospects hater. No, I'm not.
Okay. All right. No, I just wanted to bring it up that he's going to the All-Star game.
You know one prospect I like for the Habs? I don't know what's going to happen with him.
Lane Hudson played a pretty good game the other night for BU.
Look, I'm going there on Saturday. We'll talk about it. But you know what prospect I like for the Habs? And I don't know what's going to happen with him because he probably has a long way to go. But I like defenseman Adam Engström from Sweden.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I just knew you were going to say that. I don't know why. I should have said it before you even said it.
Why do you say that I was going to say that?
No, just because,
because he has talent?
I just figured you were going to go with Engström.
Why? Because he has talent?
When I saw him, I liked him.
Yeah.
I liked him. For me, I see a player
better than Norlinder, who I thought would never make the NHL. I said it a million times, but of course, is anyone apologizing for insulting me and my family when I said that?
They insulted your family.
Well, some people use words.
You took yourself off Twitter, right? You used to be on Twitter.
I was on. I left Twitter 4 years ago. It had nothing to do with insults or anything because I can take it. It was just very time consuming. And, I have a job and I have things to do and I had to cut down on certain things. And I said, okay, I'll cut down on Twitter. I mean, it was, I don't know, unless you just post and you never reply to people, but it's not my style. So when people ask me questions, I try to reply to most of them. And at some point, it became a full-time job. That's all.
Now, you were in the stands last night for that 3-2 loss versus San Jose.
Yeah, center ice.
Perfect. Tell me what you saw. Let's go. Tell me what you saw.
Yeah. Well, I'll start very briefly with the Sharks. I think there will be no more than 1 or 2 players from that roster who will be on the team if they ever get good. Okay, that's my take on the Sharks. So it was sort of like they're just putting a roster on the ice, and I think they're just hoping for better days. They're in
a full rebuild.
They're like the Chicago Blackhawks, basically.
Correct.
Now, for the Habs, I watched the Caufield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky line very closely because it's the number 1 line on the Habs. And you remember I said on your show, I said on the radio, I said many times, Suzuki and Caufield to me are not first liners on a championship team. I've said it a million times.
Yes,
I got thrown a lot of crap at me for saying that. So
there's a lot of analytics in the last couple of days to support Suzuki's case to make him an elite centerman in the National Hockey League.
Look, I like the
I know he didn't look like it last night.
Okay, body of work, eye test, this is what I use. What I see in general when I study the players, I see a good number 2 center with Suzuki, can make some nice defensive plays, especially. Generates some offense, but not to an elite level, in my book. I would say the same about Thomas Hertl, the number 1 center for the Sharks. To me, he's a number 2. He's a number 1 because, it's the Sharks. So Caufield, I think Caufield, he's a dangerous guy when the Habs are really, really established in the opponent's zone. And he can make like 2 or 3 very dangerous plays per game, in terms of scoring chances. But the problem is, outside of that situation, he's borderline liability for the Habs.
Hold on a second. What kind of stupidity is this that you just said? You said that he's dangerous when he's in the offensive zone. Was he supposed to be dangerous when he's in the defensive zone?
No, what I mean dangerous in a positive way in the offensive zone.
Okay, yeah. So this is what we know about Nick Suzuki. Are you ready? Nick
No,
Suzuki
I'm
is
talking about
13.
Cole Caufield. I'm talking about Cole
Oh,
Caufield.
Cole Caufield. Pardon me. I understand.
Yeah, I had finished with Suzuki. Caufield, I find outside of when the Canadians are established in the opponent's zone, when he can generate chances, two good scoring chances last night, which is fine. But outside of that, he's a liability. Honestly, he's small. He's not great in his own zone.
Okay, but he's small.
He gets pushed around.
He's small, but we keep on saying he's small, but he's not going to get bigger.
True. It's true. It hurts his play. He gets pushed around, and people just shift around him. Look, Caufield to me, like I said, he's a goal scorer. He's a one-timer guy. He's not a first liner on a championship team. That's all I'm saying.
Theoren Fleury was small too.
Who?
Theoren Fleury was small.
Yeah, he was much better than Cole Caufield. Much more talented.
I understand that, but I'm just saying Marty St. Louis was small too. I'm just saying, and
he was a tough guy. Marty St. Louis was a very tough guy. Cole Caufield is just easy to push around. What can I tell you? It's just what I see.
No, but I mean, if you're small, it doesn't take away. Yeah, because yes, you're easier to push around. But when you talk about shifty, you're very shifty when you're small. You don't usually get hit all that often when you're small. You can dangle usually when you're small.
Yeah, but Caufield doesn't dangle really.
So this is my beef with Caufield. My beef with Caufield is right now, he's just a perimeter player. He doesn't go to the traffic areas as much as he should. And I understand that when you go there, you might end up with an elbow in the face. You might end up with a stick to the chin. You might end up with a bloody lip. It pays to go to those areas. That's why not everyone wants to go there. Max Pacioretty was a great goal scorer. He scored 39, 37, 35, 33, 30, whatever it is. He was a perimeter player. He would have been a guy that would have gone to those areas. He would have been in the 40s. He would have been a much more effective player. He still was a very effective player by scoring the goals that he scored. The problem I have is I find Caufield's a perimeter player this year. I find that he does get knocked off the puck. I will agree with you for once. I find that he's not very interested when he doesn't have the puck. He's lacking consistency. And his shot, the fact that he can wire that shot, I don't see him wiring it with as much consistency as he has in the past. And I find that he's forcing a lot of shots from some bad angles. And because of it, his shooting percentage, you'll see, is low. So there's some things I'm going to give you on Caufield, but it's easy to support your point right now that he's not a first-line player because he's on pace for 22 goals this season. But when his shot is primed and he's wiring it and he's scoring and he's on pace to score 46 the way he was on pace to score that last year if you worked out the law of averages, then he's a first-liner. But right now, you're right. It's hard to say that he's a first-liner playing the way he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
But you said Nick Suzuki is not a number one centerman. I will say this. Okay, he's going to average 65 points or whatever it is, and you probably wouldn't give that to a number one centerman. But Dom Lucian over the last couple of days came out with a formula and came out with, I think you got to play over 16 minutes per game. You got to play against above average competition. You have to be on the penalty kill for at least 15% of your team in that situation. And he had Suzuki, based on his formula and his advanced stats, he had him in the lead for the Selke. There's other stats that I saw, courtesy of Sports Logique, I believe, that Suzuki up until last night's game was in the top 13 or 14 in the National Hockey League for time in the offensive zone. And, guys that spend a lot of time in the offensive zone are usually guys that have a real good relationship with the puck, are usually guys that protect the puck really well. I mean, Suzuki's probably not going to get 82 points this year or next year, but those two stats that I just talked to you about, that's elite. Now,
do you still believe that the Habs can win the cup with Suzuki as their number one center?
Who was their number one center when they won the cup in 93?
Was it Vincent Dafus?
Dafus played center and he played wing. Muller played center and he played wing. Stéphane Lebeau played center. Now, you don't think that, as good as Danfus was, we're talking about a guy who scored 40 and 39 for the Canadians, and as good as Muller was, and as good as LeBeau was, I believe that cup win, and we know it was Patrick Roy who stood on his head.
And David Volek.
David Volek eliminating the Pittsburgh Penguins, Game 7 overtime. But I believe that center ice position was a position by committee. They won the cup.
Okay, so if it's by committee, then Suzuki is not necessarily a number one center if you need to do it by committee.
Was Danfus a number one centerman?
I think for a while he was, but not a high tier number one centerman. But I think he was a number one centerman in the NHL.
Well, he got goals in the 40s and he got points in the 90s. And
he also became a number one centerman in San Jose after he was traded by Deschamps. So no, I do think lower tier, not Lemieux, Malkin, Crosby caliber, but I think he was a lower tier number one centerman. Look,
hold on a second.
Let's say the Canadians win the lottery. They get Macklin Celebrini. Okay, within a couple of years, Suzuki's number 2, obviously.
Without a doubt. I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
well, that's what I mean. And then the Canadians become a much better team with Nick Suzuki as number 2. That's all I'm saying.
Did St. Louis win the cup with Ryan? Did St. Louis win the cup with Ryan O'Reilly, Braden Shen, and who's the other guy they had at center?
Look, we can go through a million examples that you're going to cherry pick, this team and that team, and they won the cup without the centerman. Look, the basic thing is, if you want Suzuki to be your number 1, let's say, you have to have a much better team around him than they have right now. There's not much talent on the ice, Tony.
You think Doc could be the number 1? Drafted 3rd overall.
Yeah, I know. Let's wait and see next year. Let's wait and see.
Okay,
I like him. I like him. Let's wait and see.
Let's wait and see.
He has the profile of a number 1 centerman, this guy. But can he produce enough? That I'm not sure.
So what's the profile? Big, strong, the long reach.
Yeah, and a point producer and someone who makes players around him better also.
Well, he's never produced to the level of Suzuki. Never. Not in the National Hockey League and not in junior hockey.
No. But look.
So why does he have the profile? Because he's 3 inches taller.
Look, I'm just saying as the profile. Doesn't mean he's going to do it.
Does Braden Point have the profile? No.
Of a number 1 center?
But he is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he produces.
Well, he produces. I understand he produces. Yeah. He also plays with Stamkos and Kucherov.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Christopher Columbus, Seshko Bartolome. I would put you with Stamkos and Kucherov. He would produce too.
Look, we can talk about this till midnight, okay? The basic point is the Habs are like, 25th right now?
I'm not talking about it until midnight because midnight for you is midnight for you. Midnight for me is 5 o'clock in the morning.
Well, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So what did you see? You saw last night sitting in your seats.
Also, I always liked Slafkovsky ever since he was like 16 years old. He's really getting better. He has a very, very strong presence on the ice, which is very important. Takes up a lot of space. He's very, very good at chasing pucks and retrieving pucks from, in the corner. And that's very important. Now, look, he's 19 years old, so there's not much judgment we can pass now. But I'm just wondering how much of a point producer he can be. It's just a question mark. It's not a criticism.
Yeah, but hold on a second, though. We're doing this podcast on the night after they laid an egg. Suzuki, Caufield, and Slafkovsky were probably at their worst versus the worst team in the National Hockey League. So tonight you say, you know what? I don't know how many points he can produce.
No, I would have told you this last week, or I'll say the same thing next week. I'm just studying the player. I study it from a scout's eyes. I don't study it from, okay, this is a bad game. The Canadians.
How many points do you think is the most Slafkovsky in an ideal world? The most Slafkovsky can put up in a season. How many?
Oh my God, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. I'm just wondering. That's all. Is he a 50-point guy or is he a 75-point guy?
I'll give you something.
What do you think?
I'll give you something. What I'll give you is is if I had to bet, and this is going to come back to haunt me probably, if I had to bet in Slafkovsky's career, if he's going to be a point per game player or not, I will say no. Then again, they win the lottery, he ends up playing with Macklin Celebrini, and then all of a sudden he ends up being a benefactor, like Rantanen is playing with Nathan McKinnon. It's the same thing. I mean, so.
It's hard. It's hard to tell.
Is he a better goal scorer or a playmaker?
I think he's a better playmaker.
He doesn't shoot as often as he should.
Exactly. But I like him, and he's really progressing this year.
He's really progressing.
Okay. It's very important. You win with players like this. Strong presence on the ice. This is what I noticed about Doc. Kirby Doc, same thing. They have a strong presence on the ice.
I get it. You only like big players. You don't like small players. Okay, I get it.
No. I 1 or 2 per team, small and very skilled. I'm cool with it. But the rest of the team, I want big, skilled guys.
I'll admit, I think
we all do.
I think the Canadiens have too many small players. I think there's a place for small players. I think small players get you to the dance. I think bigger players, end up winning you the Stanley Cup.
Look at Vegas.
Yeah. And I think the Canadian small players, I think they have too many. Suzuki, Caufield, and don't tell me Suzuki's thick and this and that. He's 5'11". Yeah, okay. Suzuki, Caufield, Gallagher,
Newhook,
RV Pinard, Newhook. It's a lot of small players.
Yeah, too many. You need more Docs. You need more Slafkovskys, in my book.
So do you think that the next time they're going to draft, let's say they're in a position to draft 5th or 6th, they're going to draft by need?
I don't know what they're going to do, but one thing
More
is
so
I would draft Trevor Connolly at 5 or 6. Okay, you heard it here first. Trevor Connolly right now is number 2 on my list behind Celebrini.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All the lists that I'm seeing, they're saying that it's a D heavy draft.
Yeah, it's a D heavy draft. Most guys chosen top 10 will be Ds. I don't know if there's any superstar, a la Makar or Dahlin, but I think there are some very, very good defensemen. And but to me, it's after Celebrini, I think there's a big drop in terms of forwards. But to me, Trevor Connolly is my clear number 2 right now as we speak.
So we've reached the midway point of the season for the Canadiens, the 41 game mark. Let's bring up their list of their top 8 or 9 forwards in terms of points. We have different lists to bring up, and then okay. Midway point of the season, Suzuki 34 points, leading the way with 12 goals. Caufield and Monahan are next with 11 goals. 28 points for Caufield, 24 points for Monahan. Slafkovsky's there, 4 goals, 11 assists, 15 points. Brendan Gallagher, 7-7, 14. Newhook, 6-7, 13 in only 23 games, which is not bad, actually. Anderson, 7-5 and 12 and 41. Jake Evans, 2-10 and 12 and 41. Tanner Pearson's played 27 games, 4-4 and 8. We're going to keep the stats sheet, courtesy of NHL.com, by the way. I got it from there. We're going to keep it up. What's the first stat that just sticks out to you?
I think, probably the lack of goals by Cole Caufield.
That sticks out a lot. I mean, he's on pace for 22 goals.
But his shooting percentage is a bit low, like you were saying. So
I think he's gonna score more than 22. By the way, I'm gonna go on a limb here.
The law of averages, and probably next year he might bounce back because shooting percentages at some point it's very important.
I'm gonna go to the limb, and I'm gonna say he's gonna score 30.
You think he's gonna score 30? I don't know, but I see more. The over under to me. I think the over for 22. Yes.
Okay. The other thing that sticks out, Jake Evans has been playing 19 to 20 minutes a game for the last 3 or 4 weeks. He's +4.
Yeah, but it goes to show you how weak the Canadiens are up front because of injuries and lack of talent. Yeah. Because Evans, to me, it's just he's a very, very interchangeable player. I mean, to me, he's just a jersey filler. And I don't say it with any form of disrespect because he's an NHLer. He makes a good living out of it. Good for him. But we're judging NHL players here. You know, we're not judging him vis-a-vis the guys playing at the rink outside.
The other stat that sticks out is that Nick Suzuki's on pace for 68 points in the season. So if we'd like to get him to 80 points, he's still quite a bit off. And that Brendan Gallagher, minus 19, that really sticks out like a sore thumb, eh?
Yeah, he has a very hard time following the pace. I mean, he tries very hard. But I think he's an old, 31? He's an old 31, this guy.
He's 31 going on 35. All right, okay, let's bring up the second half.
Going on 38, 39, really, yeah.
Let's go on the second half of the players and their points. Let's see if we can bring up here. We already had Pearson before, my bad, but Pezzetta, Yolonen, Dvorak, Armia, RV Pinard, Mitchell Stevens, Kirby Doc, of course, only played 4 periods, and Emil Heineman. Is there anything that you take out of this stat sheet here?
Well, that outside of Doc, I just see guys who will not be on the Canadiens roster within, I don't know, 2-3 years max.
RV Pinard, not a very good start to the season before going down with the injury. And Yoel Armia, consistent with what he's been his entire career. He scores a goal every 4-point-something games. All right, okay, let's bring up the defense now. Matheson, 29 points.
Yeah.
Barron, 12. Gouli, 11. Savard, 10. Kovacevic, 7. Somebody said to me the other day, Tony, you pronounce his name incorrectly. No, I don't. I pronounce his name correctly. Everyone who pronounces his name Kovacevic is actually pronouncing it incorrectly. Kovacevic is the right pronunciation. Thank you very much. Harris, 5. Lindstrom, who's gone now, 4. Struble, 4. And Jacky, 3. A +6 for Jonathan Kovacevic, who's only he and Arbor Jacky. In the pluses, Struble and Lindstrom were even, and the rest are minuses. What number stands out for you?
Well, 29 points by Madison is pretty good. If he scores 58, I guess it's a career high.
For a 22nd ranked power play, you're right. It's good.
Yeah, and he's never been a number 1 defenseman before. I think he's a little bit he's number 1 by default with the Habs. But I hear a lot of criticism, you know, because he's a high event player, let's call it.
High risk.
Yeah, high risk, high event, you know, lots of things happening, good and bad. But you know what? At least he shows something. He carries the puck. He gets the puck out of the zone. You know what?
Not afraid to make a mistake.
Pardon me?
He's not afraid to make a mistake.
He's not afraid to make a mistake. And I take a Madison over a stay-at-home guy who barely doesn't make any mistakes, but doesn't create anything. So I think Madison, to me, I would say this year, in my opinion, he's probably been the Habs' best player.
That's a good one. All right. You know what sticks out to me?
And I like Barron too, by the way. Another one who, you know, creates something. I like those two guys. They've
all scored goals. Look, they all have goals.
Yeah.
Their defense is jumping into the play this year. They have goals.
Yeah.
You told me on several occasions you're not the president of the Caden Primo fan club.
Nope.
You think goalies like him, there's a dime a dozen. You don't think he's going to amount to anything. You would have put him on waivers a long time ago if need be. You would trade him, get rid of him for nothing, this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
Did the last game in Philly somewhat change your opinion at all, or no?
No, because he still gives he has a hard time handling rebounds. And to me, this is a recipe for disaster. Again, in the long run, not just a game here and there. We're talking the long run. I don't think he's improved his technique very much. So some nights he's going to have some very bad games, more than the average goalie. And that's it. That's how I feel about Primo. I don't think he's the goalie of the future.
Okay.
I don't even see him as you
like Montembeault?
Look, he's solid. He's solid. Okay, here and there he'll give up, the.
No, but he's played well this season, Montembeault.
Yeah, I think he's solid. I could tell that he was very confident I observed him last night, and he's very, very confident in front of his net. Maybe there's one goal that he would have liked to get back, but overall, I mean, he's not out of position. He's ready to face the shots. He's getting a lot of confidence in the last year or so. I think Montembeault is fine right now as the Habs' #1 goalie.
Okay, let's bring up the stats for the goalies if we can. Let's bring up the stats for the goalies. Do we have the stats for the goalies? Yes or no? Do we have them? We don't have them. Hold on a second. Let me see here. Let me see what I can do. I can probably get them here. Let's see.
There's only 3 guys, so.
Yeah, I'll get them for you right now. Hold on a second. Okay. So we'll get them in about 30 seconds time, okay? Jake Allen tomorrow night versus the Edmonton Oilers or what? Showcase here or what? Showcase?
Who knows? I think they wanted to have Montembeault for the home game, and that's why they played him yesterday with the hopes that, they would beat the Sharks, although it was not his fault.
But why didn't they put in your pick? Why didn't they put Montembeault versus the better team in Edmonton? And they're giving Allen Edmonton.
That's a good question.
Got San Jose.
That's a good question. Maybe just to sort of like increase their chances to the max that they could beat a weaker opponent. Sometimes that's what teams do.
Or maybe they're showcasing Allen in front of the Edmonton Oilers.
Could be, but that's a risk also, because what if the Oilers scores? If the Oilers score 5-6 on him?
Okay, do we have the stats? I sent them over. If not, let me just know when we have them for the goalies and bring them up. Let's just see. We should probably have them any second now. Here we go. Okay, so look, Montembeault, who for you has been amazing, fantastic.
Well, I'm not saying amazing, fantastic. I'm just saying based on his salary, based on his expectations, based on the Habs team, I think he's solid.
You said he's solid. He's doing the job, and you said that Caden Primo's basically no good. You would trade him. He's not the goalie of the future for the Canadiens.
Because Tony, I evaluate players not based on a performance like one day or 1 week or whatever. I study how they play, and I try to make a prediction about
well, hold on a second. It's not 1 day or 1 week. Primo's played 9 games.
Yeah.
And his save percentage at .905 is just behind Montembeault's at .907. And his save percentage is ahead of Allen's .900. So it seems to me, and this you're saying with a guy who gives up a lot of rebounds, his glove isn't all that great. He's shaky. His technique is off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, imagine when it's going to be on. Why would you want to get rid of a guy who is still very young in his NHL career, is the youngest of the 3 goalies, makes the least money? You're in a rebuild. He's so off, as you put it, but yet his goals against average is the second best in the team. His save percentage is the second best of the team, and it's .02 or .03 from being the best.
Tony, why do you want him to be good so badly?
Why do you want him to fail so badly?
I don't want him to fail. I just analyze him the way I'd analyze, 500 players in the NHL. You guys are all like sensitive when I talk about Habs players, and I'm not predicting who start him for them. But let's go through the Columbus Jackets roster.
I'll ask you a question. You ready?
Yeah.
Is it impossible that Caden, and by the way, we all agree that Sam Montembeault is the #1 goalie in the Montreal Canadiens right now, and based on the eye test, it's not even close. Yeah. Having said that, is it possible that Caden Primo reaches Montembeault's level or maybe even better? Is it possible?
Look, hard to predict goalies, so you can never say impossible. But since I have strong takes on players, and when you're a scout, you're being asked yes or no. You're not being asked maybe.
Mm-hmm.
My answer is no.
Did you think that Montembeault was going to be who he is 2 years ago?
I had no clue.
You could say that again.
I had no clue. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. I had no clue. But Caden Primo, I've been following a lot. And although goalies are hard to predict, I do not see I do not see a number 1 goalie, and I do not see a number 2 goalie either. You know, a guy who will play like 30, 35 games a year, like teams do normally right now. The number 2 goalie plays 30 games. I don't see it. This is a very small sample we're having here.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah.
Your opinions, they come from who? From l'Office de la Langue Française or what? What's the story here? You work for them part-time or what?
What are you talking about?
Nothing. Let me ask you this now. We're going to end with this midway point of the season. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Don't get flustered, eh? Hey, I love that retro jersey. It's fantastic. It looks good on you. 41 game mark. I'm going to show you 2 columns. All right.
Okay.
2 columns of standings. One of which is where the Canadians are right now in the wild card race. Okay. In the East. Put back on the glasses because I'm losing my eyesight. Where the Canadians are in the wild card race in the East.
Okay.
Okay. That is not the wild card race in the East. Thank you.
Yeah.
Must be on yellow at Master Control. This is the wild card race in the East. The Flyers have 48 points. They have the first wild card spot. The Lightning have 47 points. Mind you, they played 2 games more than the Flyers. The Devils at 45. The Penguins at 45. The Red Wings at 45. The Capitals at 44. The Canadians at 40. So the Montreal Canadiens are 7 points off a wild card spot. But keep in mind that they got 2 games in hand on the Lightning. But at the same time, they're 5 points behind the Devils. And the Devils have 2 games in hand on the Canadians. Or here's another standings now, where the Canadians are from the bottom of the league. San Jose with 23 points, Chicago with 26, Ottawa with 28, the Ducks with 29, the Blue Jackets with 35, the Wild with 38, the Sabres and the Canadians with 40 points. My question to you, are the Canadians closer to a wild card or closer to 5th last in the league? And in the end, where will they finish?
I'm tempted to say neither. Certainly not a wild card spot because you have 5 teams to catch up to
jump over,
and they play against each other, those teams, and there are 3-point games. So it's kind of an artificial. The standings are very artificial in the NHL with that loser point in the in overtime. Now, as for the 5th, the only way you can climb up is by having like 8-9 wins in a row, like Edmonton has been doing 2 sequences. And they're barely holding on, to the wild card spot. And they had 2 big sequences, which I don't think the Habs can have. And in order to fall, you also need to have a very long losing sequence in order to fall. And I don't think the Habs are bad enough to have a long losing sequence. Look, they went to beat Dallas. I know they lost against the Sharks, but they went to beat Dallas. So this is the kind of team you really summarized it well at the beginning. I don't think they're going to be in for a 7-8 losing streak unless they're totally struck by injuries. So, look, I think right now we might be looking at perhaps, depending on the trades that they make in March, I don't know, 7 pick, 8 pick overall. But again, it doesn't matter because 5, 6, 8, 10, Trevor Connolly will be available. And Trevor Connolly should be their pick.
Tell everybody what you like about this guy.
Trevor Connolly, Tony. If they pick Trevor Connolly, I buy a season ticket.
You'll buy a season ticket?
Yeah, if they draft Trevor Connolly. You heard it.
So what do you like about him?
Skates like the wind. Hands of gold. Moves that you rarely see. I mean, shifting around players. I mean, the guy's absolutely incredible. The only thing right now, I think he's only about 160 pounds, but he's 6'1". So at 6'1", he can fill up, get to 180. But right now, obviously, the guy needs most certainly 2 years in college before he's ready. Maybe a third year. I don't know. But he needs at least 2 years. So he's not NHL ready right now by any chance because of that. Because I feel that he's a little bit weak, but he's a tall guy. And I tell you, he's this guy. He's a human highlight reel.
Number 16 with the Tri-City Storm of the USHL. He's a California boy whose youth team was the Anaheim Junior Ducks.
Yeah. Gretzky, a Gretzky kid.
What do you mean a Gretzky kid?
Well, when Gretzky was traded to Los Angeles, we all knew that at some point, 10, 20, 30 years,
California would start producing hockey players.
Yeah, look, Austin Matthews in Arizona. So yeah, but I see Conley very, very high. Look, Central Scouting released their standings today. I think it's kind of ridiculous that they have a European list and a North American list. They should blend the letters, not the letters, but the standings. But Conley is 5th on the North American list. I was a little bit surprised.
Thank you so much for doing this. And once again, who's the only person in the world who calls you Userpent?
Trevor Connolly.
He calls you Userpent?
Yeah.
Well, you know him or what? You guys have each other's number or what?
Well,
So you like this guy more than you like Quentin Musty?
Yeah.
Yeah, you like him a lot
and
more.
I like Quentin Musty.
He's number 2 on your list.
By the way, in Sudbury.
He's number 2 on your list, Trevor Connolly.
Yeah, behind
Macklin Celebrini. Yeah. You're going to go watch him play?
What?
You're going to go watch him play?
Well, I've watched him a lot. I watch all of his shifts, every game. I mean, it's absolutely delightful.
Delightful.
Yeah.
Now you got me excited. Now I'm going to start getting the software. I'm going to start watching all of his shifts too.
Oh yeah.
All right, my man. Okay, so you're going to watch Macklin Celebrini and Lane Hudson
next weekend in Vermont. Yeah.
Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
All right, so I'll get you on early the week after that.
Yeah.
To tell me, so you could tell me your thoughts, okay?
I'm also gonna have. We're also gonna start on BPM Sport. Mathias Brunet and I are starting a podcast very soon.
Oh, is that right? Eh.
Mm-hmm.
You and Mathias Brunet.
Yeah, on BPM. We're gonna have our podcast very soon.
What does that mean? Am I still going to be able to use you on the Sick podcast or no?
Of course. So I have my French podcast and the English podcast with you. That's perfect.
All right. Okay, that's fantastic.
That's the advantage of being bilingual. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. And good luck with your podcast with Mathias Brunet.
Salut, Tony.
We'll talk to you soon. All right. There you have it. Hey, I want to thank everyone for watching once again. I want to thank everyone for being there. I want to thank everyone for being there since day one, for telling your friends about it. The Sick podcast, Rome wasn't built in a day, folks. But what I can tell you is we are growing slowly but surely. We see it. We see it in the numbers. We see it in the data that we have available to us. We see it in the charts. And we thank you very much. We want to be the Montreal Canadiens podcast of choice. I think for the most part, we are. And even though, you know what, there's plenty of fans out there and for plenty of podcasts, we'd love to have as many of you as possible. Put it that way. So thank you very much. If you like the podcast, like it, share it with your friends, comment sick, leave us a 5-star review on Apple. It's our way of feeling the love. Want to thank our sponsors and our partners. Energy Transportation Group is one. La Bite de TB is the other. Playground is the other. And Accent Insurance Solutions. Thank you very much for all the support. Every day, a little bit at a time, one step at a time, we're getting there. Special thanks to Simon the Snake Boisvert for his collaboration tonight. And once again, it's going to be the Montreal Canadiens and the Edmonton Oilers on Saturday night. It's going to be a very difficult couple of weeks here for the Montreal Canadiens. I think it's safe to say. But then again, you know what? They're one of those teams that end up losing to the worst teams and sometimes ends up beating the best teams. But the next week in particular, the Canadiens have the Oilers and Avalanche at home. And then they have the Devils and the Senators on the road in a back-to-back situation. For Agnello, Sammy, and Juliana, Master Control, they're Cavallaro live from Portugal. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TB. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.